Hey guys, I'm Jeff from GWhisky. Welcome to the Whiskey Vault. Today we're going to be reviewing Craigellachie 13. Stick around. Alright, so I want to kick things off by saying thank you to Daniel. I appreciate the fact that you're using your platform to help other creators. I think it's a really nice gesture. Although, I gotta say personally, I would never. I don't know about any of this supporting your community nonsense, but as far as I'm concerned, other creators are the competition, and they must be crushed. Because as Sun Tzu wrote in The Art of War, those other guys. Anyway, a little bit about me before we get started. My name is Jeff, that's right, G-E-O. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh god, he's one of those insufferable people that thinks he's special just because he spells his name in a weird way. Well, yes. I'm originally from Canada, but I've been living in Asia for the last 15 years, mostly in Taiwan. And growing up in Canada, I was not a big fan of whiskey. Back in the day, whiskey was for nights out. You'd head out to the bar, have some Jack and Coke, some Jim Beam, some Canadian Club. I didn't care. For me, it was a party drink. It was a messy drink. And I just remember so many of those nights out would end up with me in the back of a dog sled, puking all over my beaver pelt on the way back to the igloo. I was not having sophisticated whiskey nights. Ungentlemanly. However, after I moved to Taiwan, I got into whiskey and I've been an enthusiast ever since. I started my channel GWhisky back in 2020. And there I mostly talk about Scotch single malts, but I do dabble. I'll touch on other things. I occasionally talk about bourbon, for example, if I have to. Anyway, as I said, today we're talking about Craigellachie 13, and we're supposed to have a special reason as to why we chose this whiskey. And I guess my special reason is, like a lot of other YouTube channels, I'll do a whiskey of the year. And this was my first whiskey of the year on GWhisky. And to this day, this is still one of my favorite whiskeys. I love the flavors. I love the profile. This is 46% ABV. It's non-chill filtered. It's natural color, so it's a fully natural presentation. And most importantly, this lands at the more affordable end of Scotch single malt pricing. And honestly, rarely do all of those things come together, so I just really like it and I wanted to talk about it here. It's really not that deep. Craigellachie is a Speyside distillery, which is this region right here in the northeast of Scotland, and it's famous for having a very hefty and somewhat rugged character. These guys use worm tubs at their distillery, which not every single malt does, and if you don't know what that is, it's basically a special type of condenser, and typically they help give whiskey a little bit more weight. In terms of maturation, our 13-year-old here has spent time in both bourbon casks and sherry barrels, and I think that's most of the basic details covered. I don't want to blabber on for too long. I want to jump into this review. But before we do that, I do want to ask for a quick like on this video. This is, of course, Daniel's channel, but I think the guy could really use the help. I think this guy has loads of potential. This kid is a real up-and-comer, so show him some support. What's that? 26 times the size of my channel? Well, good for him. On the nose, this is beautifully fruity and rugged. I get grilled pineapple here. I get green apple, a touch of banana, some star fruit. We get some tart lemon in here. It's a little bit musky. It's a little bit dusty. We get some vanilla in here. We get some cereal notes and we get some birch notes. Birch, by the way, is one of my favorite trees to sniff. Top 3 for sure. The palate and finish give us a very full texture. This is, again, quite fruity, quite rugged, not in a way that's like sharp or off balance, but it does have like this certain cowboy ruggedness to it. We get a big grilled pineapple note here. We get some herbal notes, some grainy notes, a touch of resin. Our finish is on light brown sugar and some vanilla. So as I said before, I think this is absolutely beautiful whiskey, and I wanted to use my time on this much bigger platform to kind of spread the word about it. Granted, it is pretty well known and well regarded with us single malt nerds, but it's not uber famous, and I think it's a great option for those of you out there who don't mind a slightly more rugged profile. Because a lot of the appeal with this whiskey is that it doesn't feel sanitized. It doesn't feel like it's been engineered to be mass appealing. It's not smooth, it's not generic. This is very characterful stuff. As I said, a little bit rugged, a little bit challenging, a little bit unpretty, but that's the charm. So my score for this one is going to be 89. I think it's fantastic whiskey. I think it's one of the best affordable single malt scotches on the market today. And it's just really interesting stuff. So if my description sounds interesting to you, go check it out. You won't be disappointed. Or you might be. I don't know you. Now, when it comes to price, as I mentioned earlier, I live in Taiwan, and Taiwan happens to be one of the cheapest markets in the world for single malt Scotch, so this was not expensive for me. I paid the equivalent of $43 US, which is not bad at all. I would imagine most of you out there would have to pay more. However, I'm pretty sure regardless of what market you're in, this one's not going to break the bank, and for what you're paying, you are getting an absolutely delicious, affordable, interesting whiskey that's just brimming with character. So obviously, very highly recommended. And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to the end of the video. If you want to learn more about my channel and what I do, you can just search for GWhisky on YouTube. And once again, a big thank you to Daniel for lending me his platform, and thanks to you guys for watching. I'm glad you're here.